Do you know what the most dangerous birthday of your life is? It's not when you turn 18. It's not 21. It's not even 30. It's when you cross 40. So, why is this? Because something strange happens around this age. Without you even realizing, a silent curve begins. A curve that psychologists, economists, and doctors have all studied. They call it the U-shaped curve of happiness. Almost everywhere in the world, people report the lowest levels of happiness between their early 40s and late 40s. Let me ask you, have you ever looked in the mirror after 40 and thought, is this it? Is this all life was supposed to be? The job, the bills, the endless responsibilities, the kids, the aging parents, the health scares. Suddenly, everything feels heavier. You're not young enough to dream without fear, and you're not old enough to let go of ambition. You're stuck in the middle. It's the age when you begin to feel invisible in your own story. And that is why happiness declines after 40. Unless you do one thing. But before I tell you what that one thing is, let's sit with this feeling for a moment. Imagine a man named Rajesh. At 25, Rajesh was ambitious. He wanted to travel the world, write a book, build a business. By 35, he was married, had kids, and a respectable job. But by 42, something had changed. He had money, but no time. He had family, but no intimacy. He had responsibilities, but no dreams. Rajesh wasn't depressed. He was functioning, but he was emotionally bankrupt. This story isn't just about Rajesh. It's about millions of people who reach their 40s and realize that somewhere along the way, they stopped living. They just started maintaining. And here's the cruel twist. Society doesn't talk about it. Everyone talks about midlife crisis as if it's about men buying sports cars or women suddenly changing careers. But the truth is far deeper. It's not about crisis. It's about neglect. Decades of emotional neglect. Think of happiness as a savings account. In your 20s and 30s, you're constantly withdrawing. New jobs, new relationships, new experiences. Every trip, every party, every late-night dream session with friends, it all feels like wealth. But in your 40s, those deposits stop. You stop meeting friends regularly. You stop exploring new passions. You stop playing. You stop dreaming. You only withdraw, never deposit. And like any account, when you stop depositing, one day you open your statement and realize it's empty. That is why happiness declines after 40, because we've been spending without saving. Now, here comes the question. What do we do? What is the one thing that can reverse this decline? The answer is this. We must start making emotional investments deliberately. At 20, happiness happens by accident. At 40, it must happen by design. And it begins with a decision. To stop living like life is maintenance and start living like life is creation again. Let me explain. Science tells us that happiness after 40 depends less on external achievements and more on 3 pillars: relationships, meaning, and growth. Notice, none of these are about money or fame. They're about what we choose to nurture daily. Let's start with relationships. After 40, loneliness becomes one of the biggest threats to emotional health. Not because people don't have family, but because they stop prioritizing connections that energize them. How many of us still meet friends for no reason? How many of us still laugh until our stomachs hurt? You see, friendship isn't just a luxury at this age. It's emotional oxygen. Without it, happiness suffocates. Second, meaning. By 40, your career might feel monotonous, your routines predictable, but meaning is what transforms routine into purpose. Volunteering, mentoring, creating something for others. It's these acts that refill the emotional bank. The happiest people in their 40s and beyond aren't the ones with the most money. They're the ones with the most contribution. And third, growth. The reason happiness declines is because growth declines. When was the last time you learned something new? Picked up a skill, tried a new art, or challenged yourself? The brain thrives on novelty. Without it, time collapses, and days blur into months, months into years. Learning keeps the timeline of life alive. So, here's the formula: relationships, meaning, growth. This is the emotional retirement plan you need after 40. But let's make it real. Let's imagine two people at 45. One, Ritu, who works, comes home, watches TV, scrolls on her phone, goes to bed. Repeat. The other, Asha, also works, but twice a week she meets friends. On weekends, she volunteers at an animal shelter. Every evening, she practices painting for 30 minutes. Same age, same city, same responsibilities. But in 10 years, Ritu feels drained and invisible, while Asha feels alive and expanding. Why? Because Asha is making emotional deposits every single day. And that's the secret. Happiness after 40 doesn't decline by destiny. It declines by neglect. I want you to think about your own life. Ask yourself, when was the last time I invested in joy deliberately? When was the last time I said yes to something that scared me a little but excited me a lot? When was the last time I chose connection over convenience? If your answers are all, I don't remember, then you already know why happiness feels like it's slipping away. But here's the good news. It's never too late. Emotional wealth compounds faster than money. One phone call to an old friend, one class you sign up for, 1 hour you spend mentoring someone younger. It can shift your emotional balance immediately. And here's something fascinating. Studies show that happiness actually increases again after 50 and 60 for people who nurture these 3 pillars, which means if you make these changes today, the next decades of your life can be richer, calmer, and more joyful than your 20s ever were. Let's end with a thought experiment. Close your eyes and picture yourself at 70. Imagine 2 versions of you. One, sitting alone, scrolling through old memories, wondering where the time went. The other surrounded by friends, still learning, still laughing, still alive with curiosity. Both versions exist inside you. The difference between them is not luck. It's choice. So, why does happiness decline after 40? Because we stop choosing. But the moment you start choosing again, choosing relationships, choosing meaning, choosing growth, the curve bends back upward. Life isn't downhill after 40. It's a second mountain, and it's waiting for you to climb it. So ask yourself, will you live the rest of your life as maintenance or as creation? Because the truth is simple. Happiness doesn't decline after 40. It declines only if you let it.